ladies, this is Mellon and welcome to my channel. If you are new here, welcome. And if you are not new here, thank you so much for tuning in and watching this video. Today is a moon and star therapy video. So I'm super excited to bring these videos to you. So before we get started and get into this video, I want to do a little exercise really quick. It's something when I was trying to get into podcasting that I did. So I haven't been doing on top of podcasting, so I'm just going to do it here before I start my moon and therapy videos. So if no one told you, ladies, they love you today, first and foremost, I just want to let you know that I love you. Mellon loves you. Yes, I do. And if no one has given you a hug today, I want you to take your right arm and stretch it all the way out. And I want you to take your left arm, stretch it all the way out. And I want you to reach around, grab, and hold yourself. Squeeze yourself. Squeeze it, girl. Because I just gave you a hug today. Mellon just gave you a hug today. Yes. So yes, I love you. I want to let you know that I'm proud of you. I just want to show my love and support to you today. All right. So let's jump into it. I want to talk about how becoming an entrepreneur kind of caused me to have a spiritual awakening. And so if any of you ladies don't know what a spiritual awakening is, I would love for you to do some research in your own time to get a deeper understanding of it. I'm just going to give you a general meaning of it. So basically what it means to have a spiritual awakening is that you basically become aware of your true self, of who you really are, of who God really created you to be, what you were called to do. You tend to are ready and understand that you need to let go of the old so you can bring in the new. You know that you need to let go of your fears, situations, circumstances, people, things, bad habits in your life that are no longer serving your purpose. It almost feels kind of like when you have a spiritual awakening and you started becoming more aware and more present mentally of who you truly are and not necessarily what others want you to be. When that happens, it almost feels like you're waking up, like you've been asleep on who you truly are, because either one, you've been living for other people's opinions of you, maybe your family's opinions of what you should do, brother, sister, friend, cousin, anybody, or maybe you just been afraid to express who you truly are. Maybe you are not confident. You kind of need an entourage or a group of people around you at all times to make you feel like you need to make decisions, or make you feel like in order to do something that you know you're supposed to do, you might feel like you need these people, or you need these circle of friends, or you need that validation, or you need this male in your life, or you need this female in your life, or you need this relationship in your life. Maybe you need this romantic partner in your life who is not really helping you to be your best self. Maybe who is maybe an abusive situation, and also too a lot of times you become aware of what negative situations that you are in, whether it be the workplace, whether it be a longtime partner or a lover. If you're in a mentally abusive situation, especially a physically abusive, any type of abuse is something that you need to get away from. But if you're in a mentally abusive situation, a physically abusive situation, whether it be inside of a family situation or a partnership, you become aware like this is no longer serving me. Living small, being timid, being scared to go after what I know I'm supposed to be doing, being fearful or being afraid of making the next step, making the moves you know you need to make in order to free yourself from what's been holding you down and what's been limiting you. That is a spiritual awakening. Basically being of thinking on a higher vibration, being more higher consciously aware. Okay, and so basically I just want to take a little bit a time just to kind of tell you my experience of how I experienced this spiritual awakening. So basically, I was at a point in my life, I always talk about this when I was talking about my salons, the salon suite situation. Before I moved into my salon, I was the type of person that I'm still shy, but definitely shy. Definitely not a person who was vocal in expressing my emotions and how I felt. I had a hard time expressing myself, expressing my emotions vocally, because I kind of grew up in a structure where I grew up in a family dynamic where when the parent is talking, they talk, you listen. You don't really have a voice, you don't really have an opinion. It's just what's that is that. And so you know, that's the kind of dynamic I grew up in as far as a parent situation. And so as an adult, I definitely had a hard time expressing myself, expressing my emotions, communicating what it is that I did not want and what I wanted in my life. Another version of myself that I'm not proud of, and I still try to be mindful of this and work on, is living for other people. That was something that I did just because, like I said, the way I grew up was like, I'm old school. Like, okay, you grew up, you don't really have an opinion. This is what it is. I know you aspire to have dreams and goals, and you have the version of what you think about yourself and what you should do outside of the rules and structure that's set in place for you. But, growing up here in this house, it was the law. Like, you do what I say. Like, the vision for your life is the vision that, my parent had for my life. And so, I kind of grew up like, wanting to be a people pleaser, like, wanting that assurance from other people, just kind of neglecting my own emotions and happiness and mental health in order to please someone else. So that is a version of myself that was no longer serving me once I started to become an entrepreneur. And you ladies know, I always tell you, entrepreneurship is all about self-development and some sort of aspect of leadership, because in order to be an entrepreneur, you have to be self-starting, you have to be confident, you have to be bold, you have to be fearless, you have to be a go-getter, and you cannot depend on anyone else to get what you need for your dream. So yes, just not being able to communicate clearly my emotions and my thoughts and what I wanted for my life. Definitely wasn't a person that stood up for myself or took a stance on boundaries that I set. Like, if someone crossed those boundaries, I'm not the kind of person that's going to address like, hey, you crossed a boundary with me. This is not what I want. This is not making me happy. So, I need to walk away. I was not the type of person to address that. Definitely, I'm not the type of person who likes confrontation. Now, I can go there, I can be taken there, but I'm like a peacemaker, and I do what makes for peace. And so if something is bothering me or I'm not happy with, I really just try to ignore the situation, walk away from the situation without having to get any confrontation. So basically letting people cross boundaries that they shouldn't cross. Excuse me. And basically what I was attracting into my life are people who kind of, I don't know, broken people is what I attracted into my life. Like, having this kind of energy of wanting to fix people and wanting to help people. And really what I was doing was draining the life out of myself. And so that's an aspect of my life that, is a lesson to set boundaries and not allow people to cross them. And especially being married to my husband is very vocal about what he wants, what he doesn't want, what's right, what's not right, what's justice, what's an injustice. So being married to him has definitely helped me, and he has encouraged me to find my voice, to vocalize how I feel, even if he doesn't agree with it, to not just shut down, when confrontation happens, or, we get in an argument, to not shut down, because I was the type of person that shut down. If we're having a blown out, argument or whatever, whether it be with him or somebody else, I just shut down. Because again, you know, growing up in my childhood into a teenager, it was a I'm talking, you listen situation. It was a never like, okay, you know, Amber, tell me what's going on, how you feel. No, you know, this is the rules. This is what it is. This is, you follow them. You don't really have a say so. You don't really have a voice because your opinion doesn't matter. And so that's the kind of you know, family dynamic that I grew up in a single parent household. And so now that I'm older and I'm more aware and I have had that spiritual awakening experiences, all of those things that were hindering me spiritually, financially, physically, things that weren't benefiting me in relationships or my marriage, is something that basically God was flashing the lights, like, okay, I've got a job for you to do. You have a mission, you have a purpose. It's time. It's just your time. And basically when you have a spiritual awakening, it's just time. It's like once your eyes have been opened, there is no going back. And so that's another aspect of a spiritual awakening is, you know, I definitely grew up in religion. I come from a Pentecostal Christian background, which by the way, let me just say this, just because you're spiritual or more spiritual doesn't mean that you can't pull anything from religion, or doesn't mean that maybe your foundation is not religious, because being spiritually minded, you start to realize like there has to be balance. God is always getting on me about balance. Everything in my life is about balance. God's always showing me, hey, there's a balance to everything. You need the light and the dark. And another expression of a spiritual awakening is called the dark night of the soul. And it's basically like a, what do you call it? When you are pledging for a sorority, initiation. That's the word. Thank you, Spirit. An initiation. So it's basically like an initiation from the spirit realm and God, and He's about to take you through this process where you have to face your fears, where you have to face the ugly truth about what you need to get rid of in order to be great, basically. So if you're not doing good, it's going from not doing good to doing good. And then the spiritual awakening process and the growth aspect, it never stops. You keep on ascending. The more you learn, the more God shows you about yourself, the more you're willing to let go, the more you're willing to surrender and to be free, the higher the different levels you go. So it's called an ascension process, which I will have to talk about in another video. But there's different levels. It never stop. You never stop growing. Right now, I feel like I'm on my second ascension process. I'm on a new journey. And so, yeah, so basically a spiritual awakening is the dark night of the soul. It's an initiation. I cannot say it. Excuse me, guys, if I sound crazy saying this. It's like I have a list when I say this. An initiation process that God takes you through. And it's not a fun one. It's not a comfortable one, because a lot of times, you know, God is showing you, hey, this person doesn't care about you. This person doesn't love you. This person is using you. He'll show you relationships that are broken, whether they be in a family dynamic, whether they be in a loving partnership dynamic, whether it be in a marriage dynamic. He'll show you things in the workplace that's no longer working, where you need to quit this job and go in a whole new direction and get a different job and a whole new different thing, whether it be acknowledging that you need to further your education, go to school, whether it be quitting your job, starting a business, quitting old habits, addictions. And I mean any addictions. Addictions just doesn't have to be drugs. Addiction can be you know, addiction to food, addiction to basically analysis paralysis, and not believing in yourself, always having to have people to validate your dream, an addiction to sex. Not, and I'm not saying that's anything that I had, but there's so many addictions that people go through. Addiction to just being lazy and not living out your dreams, and not putting in the work, an addiction to being a victim, an addiction to not letting go. So sometimes we want to be hard on the people with drug addictions, but anything that you constantly keep doing that's a bad habit that God is trying to make you aware of, that you need to let go, when you go through a spiritual awakening, it's like it's flashing lights, like, hey, Amber, let it, let it go. It's time to let it go. And if you don't let it go, it's gonna be hard. You don't want God in spirit to move your life in a way where you're forced to let things go. You don't want to suffer like that. You just want to listen to the guidance. And especially when you become spiritually aware, you learn that it's not a thing about being obedient. When you come from a religious background, it's all about obeying. And that was just something too, when I became spiritually more aware and just thinking from a different perspective. In some aspects, even though there's still some core beliefs that I hold dear and true to my heart, that I feel like are good principles to follow when it comes to religion, there's also some things about religion that became more aware to me. In my opinion, religion agrees with classism. When I say these things, I'm not looking for anyone to agree with me or disagree with me. So please, if someone comes on here and they want to get in a debate about the Bible and about religion, I'm not going to do it. That's one of the things that the Bible tells Christians not to do, is argue about the Bible. But that's the number one thing that religious people love to do, is argue about the Bible. But that's a whole nother story. Okay, so yeah, I'm not here to get in a debate. I'm just sharing, okay? So yes, when I was deep in religion, to me, religion was all about obeying authority, obeying. And there's a lot of people in the religious system that are in authority that are not good people. And I'm not saying everybody. I'm not saying that, because when you become spiritual and you dab into the spiritual community, there's good and bad. There's good and bad in religion, and there's good and bad in the spiritual community. And there's nothing wrong with using both, okay? But I digress. So becoming spiritually aware, it just kind of made me just really not be so big on religion. It kind of made me take key important things that I believe work, that are laws and principles, no matter if you believe in a religion or if you don't. They just are what they are, and they work, So I still hold that, I still love God. I still believe in God. I still believe in Jesus. I still believe in love. It doesn't matter what religion or how spiritual you are, how religious you are. Love is the greatest commission of all. Love is the greatest power of all. Love conquers all things. I still believe that. I still hold that true and dear to my heart. And that is what I live by. When I used to be heavy in religion and I used to identify as a Christian, I'm gonna just have to come out and say, I do not identify as a Christian anymore. I do not identify as any religion anymore. And, when I used to read the Bible heavily, like I read the Bible heavily, and I've never read in the Bible where it says that God called you to be a Christian. If you want to be a Christian, follow me. No, God said be a follower of me. He commissioned the disciples to follow him. Not that they had to be a Christian, not that they had a title, but to be a follower. And they were supposed to spread the love in the message. And once again, it's about balance. It's about balancing dark and light. So I don't care how religious you are, how spiritual you are. If you're not operating in love, you're operating outside of what's most beneficial in your life. And so to me, it's all about listening to guidance, listening to your intuition. So I felt like religion caused me to feel like I was waiting on God to do this, waiting on God to do that, praying, trying to figure out, what does God want me to do? What's going to please him? But when I had my spiritual awakening experience, first of all, I was not going to church. When I moved from my hometown, it was very hard for me to find a church like my home church back home where I'm from. It's very hard. I have a teacher, Apostle Dr. Kevin Robinson in Fayetteville, North Carolina. He is an amazing teacher, and it was so hard for me to find a teacher and a leader, a moral leader, someone who it's all about, some pastors are all about the talk and not about the walk, but my leader back home is all about the walk and listen to the talk. Like, the walk matches up with the talk, and that's what I look for. When I used to look for established religion places, but I just never found it. And what I realize is that just because you stop going to church doesn't mean that God stopped speaking. God is always speaking, and he actually was speaking to me even more when I started my business and I opened up a salon suite with no clients at rent that was $300 a week. That was an experience. That was an emotional roller coaster. That was a journey that was so exciting, such a thrill, but it was a dark time. It was a very sad time for me. I felt like no one really understood what I was going through. No one was really there to help me or talk to me and guide me. I didn't really have any circle of people. I mean, besides my husband, that was it. I didn't really have anyone saying, "Yay, Amber, go, you can do it." No, I had to be my own motivator. I had to motivate myself up from within. I had to find my own mentors. I did not have any physical mentors. So if you are ready to live your purpose and live your life, and you're like, "Amber, I don't have a lot of friends. I don't have a lot of mentors. I don't have a lot of people." Go find them. Just because they're not in your physical presence doesn't mean that they cannot mentor you, doesn't mean that you can't gain inspiration from them. Go find people on YouTube. Go find podcasts. Go find people on Instagram. Go find people on Facebook. That's the beauty of social media. That's the beauty of technology. You can literally build a community from scratch. A group of people, a community of people, a network of people that are like-minded, that think like you, and you guys support each other. So it's no excuse of being in this energy of, "Oh, I don't have this, I don't have that." Go create it, go find it. And so that's the kind of attitude that God was dealing with me. I mean, I'm telling you that, and I don't mean to sound mean or harsh by it, but that's basically what I had to tell myself. "Oh, Amber, you don't have any mentors in your life? Go find mentors." My mentors were Eric Thomas, Les Brown, Zig Ziglar, Gloria Mayfield Banks. At the time when I was in my salon suite, Raymond Torgano, those are people. No, they weren't like physical mentors to me, but they were like mentors in my world, in my mind. Because with the click of a button, I could listen to them and gain so much inspiration, even though I didn't have that physical circle of mentors, friends, and people were like, "Hey, Amber, you can do this, you got it." I had no one to tell me, "Amber, you could do this, you got this." The only person I had encouraging me was my husband. And, my husband had to be focused on, picking up that extra income that was lost for me quitting a job. So even that was a little tough, but I would not change a thing. I would not change a thing, even though it was a very dark time for me. And physically, when you go through a spiritual awakening, it's like you're shedding this old, you're doing away with the old system. And what I mean by an old system is an old way of thinking. You're doing away with an old way of doing things, how you think, approaching things, how you think about yourself, and how you view the world. And when you become more spiritually aware, you start to realize that who you believe you are on the inside and what you're thinking on the inside mirrors and reflects and is made manifest to you on the outside. And that's one of those things that's in the Bible, you know, when I was in religion, that I still hold to. So a man thinks in his heart, so he is. That is a law, that is a principle. It doesn't matter if you believe it or you don't. If you believe that you can't and you won't and it's not going to happen, you will not do it, it won't happen, and you will not see it. If you believe in your mind, in your heart, that anything that you want, that you can do, you can have, you can achieve, it will reflect and make manifest on the outside of your life. So that's what I mean by a balance, by you know, being spiritual but still having some things about religion as a foundation to build upon. And then I will make other videos for people who resonate with this video. By the way, if you resonate with this video, please drop some green hearts in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Now, if you're here to be mean or debate, you will get nothing from me. And if you're nasty, you might even get blocked. But if you resonate with this video, if you feel like you know, you've had a spiritual awakening or a spiritual experience like this, or you feel like you're going through one, please let me know in the comments. I do want Moon and Star in Therapy to be a community of people who just love and vibrate on a high frequency, people who are peacemakers, creatives, you know, earth angels, healers, intuitive people, you know, who are go-getters, people who want to go after their dreams and goals, people who want to let go of the old and bring in the new. That's the kind of people that I want a part of this channel, people who operate in love. And like I said, no matter how spiritual I get, that is something that is important to me. That's something that I will always follow, is love is the greatest gift of all. Love is the most powerful thing that you could operate from. And if you keep that in mind, it will help you to make important decisions. It'll help you to walk away from relationships in love the right way. It'll help you to stand up for yourself or address situations the right way. It'll help you to forgive, which is something that religious people have a hard time doing. You know, I don't mean to get on a little rant, but so many people feel like just because you're spiritual and you no longer identify as a religious person, or you no longer identify as a Christian, that, you know, you're a devil worshiper, or, you know, you're evil. And that's crazy to me, because if you're a Christian, it teaches you to love everybody from where they are, to operate from a place of love, to forgive. And I know a lot of religious people, that is something that they have a problem with, is forgiveness. And that, as a Christian, you have to forgive people, not just for them, but for you, so you can continue to grow, so you won't stunt your growth. But I know so many religious people that hold grudges, that do not forgive, that don't even talk to their own kids, that talk about their family, that talk about their kids, talk about their grandkids, won't even see their grandkids' child. But that's a whole nother story too. We're not even going to get into that. So anybody coming for me in the comments about, you know, how I don't identify as a Christian anymore because I'm more spiritual, you know, let's think about that. Just think about that before you come to me on the comments. Are you operating out of love? And do you operate in forgiveness, okay? Before you try to come for me in the comments. Because I know religion is so sensitive. It's such a sensitive topic. People will cut your head off, shoot you, and think nothing about it. That is not operating in the love of Christ. But again, I digress. That's for another video. But you know, God is working on me with, you know, I don't want to say coming out of spiritual closet, but, you know, I have to, if I'm gonna be me and be great at this these new projects, these new endeavors, these videos that I'm gonna be bringing, you know, to people, to help them grow, to be a light holder, you know, to hold the light for others. I have to be free. I cannot be worried about others' opinions, which is another big thing. When you go through a spiritual awakening, you will realize that other people's opinions don't matter. It's about you and God, what you want for your life and what you want for your purpose. It's not about finding the will of God. God is never aside from you. God lives inside of you. You are God God is you. You are an extension of him. You are a spiritual being having a human experience. Is what do you want for your life? I'm talking about positive things. Now, I'm not talking about crazy stuff that you know is wrong. I'm not talking about things that's going to hurt you. I'm not talking about things that's going to get you addicted to things and making you make poor decisions. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about how the greatest version of yourself. How do you see that? What does that look like? What kind of creative are you? What do you want to create in your life? How much money do you want to make? What type of career do you want to have? What kind of home do you want to have? What kind of car do you want to drive? What kind of family do you want? What kind of partner do you want? Do you desire to be married? Do you desire to have kids? How do you want to help other people? How do you want to be a light for other people? That's what I'm talking about. And when you envision that, that's not finding the will of God. That's God holding you accountable. It's like, no, God is saying, no, you tell me, what do you want for your life? You envision it, I will build it. That's what God is saying. God told me that today. There's a couple of things that, God and Spirit have been just giving to me to come to you guys. And one of the things God was saying is, you envision it, I will build it. Tell them, Amber, you envision it, I will build it. God has, he's saying, hey, I'm the contractor. You tell me what you want, I'll draw the blueprints for you. Okay? Your spirit guides and your angels, don't worry about the zoning, don't worry about the money, don't worry about what bank's gonna approve you, because you're already approved. It's already done. I just need you to envision it and I will help you build it, is what God is saying to all of you watching this channel. If you're watching this channel, this video is going on 30 minutes, so I will have to create another video about this. But yes, I just wanted to create this video for anyone else who feels like they're going through the same thing, or who have went through this, or you feel like you're kind of walking away from religion. Not that religion is not helpful, or not that you want to completely do away with it, but you're becoming more spiritual. You want to be outside the box. You want to color outside the lines. You feel like God is calling you higher. You feel like some aspects of religion has caused you to be restricted and not allowing you to fly like how you need to fly, or be how you need to be. That's why I'm creating this video, because I'm going to be a guide for people who are going through that transition, or who are currently going through it. Because even when you get in the spirit community, you have to still have balance. You still have to approach things from an intuitive place. Not everything's going to be for you. And I don't do devil. So that's one thing. I don't care how spiritual I get, I do not do devil, okay? I still believe in God. I still believe in Jesus. I still believe in certain principles that hold true and dear. Even if there was never a Bible created, like I said, God never stops speaking. We all have a conscience. We all know what's right and what's wrong, because God never stops speaking. It doesn't matter if we're going to church, if we're not. It doesn't matter if we believe in the Bible or we don't. It doesn't matter how we identify ourselves. God never stops speaking. I don't care who you are. And he loves you. He loves everyone, okay? So that's why I wanted to do this video. If you found this video helpful, or it's encouraged you, or gave you some insight in some type of way, please drop the green hearts in the comments section. Love in life. Anybody that's trying to manifest beautiful and great things in your life, I'm calling you to this channel. Let's build this community. Let's build this community. I am creating some wonderful things for Moon and Star Therapy. I have the launch date. Again, I'm still holding off on it, but I have some wonderful things I'm creating to help all of you guys. I love all of you. I hope you are doing well. I hope you are being happy, and I hope you are being kind to yourself. I hope you are loving to yourself, and I hope you create the life that you want to live. And I will see you guys in the next video. This video, oh my gosh, 35 minutes long, but if you watch to the end, I hope you enjoyed it, okay? And I can't wait to create more of these Moon and Star videos, and I will see you guys soon.